This is another video that's going to go on for 15 minutes with a bunch of junk in it. Don't watch it. CTF, COBRAY Firearms of Tennessee, which is CTF, COBRAY Firearms Tennessee, LLC, has an FFL and it expires July of this year. Leinad FFL expires in the year 2022. Still exists. It's just at a slightly different spelling of name and different business ID code. AH Sets LLC exists, apparently, or not. Ultraforce, another company run by the same people, sort of existed. Excalibur LLC died in the year 2004. FMJ, which is actually some specific meaning for the letters, it's actually the first three initials of the people who ran it at the time, did or did not exist as of last year. Ducktown, Polk County, Tennessee is where the P.O. boxes are. There are several. Highway 68. Street address 1801. Box number within building, which is always maintained, can be anything, any number, but it could be 514. In Copper Hill, Tennessee. And if you look at it on Google Street View, if you turn a specific direction, when you try to click forward, it indicates that it's going to try to go up in the air and leap. It has been sandbagged, masked, hacked, distorted. It's one of those places on Google Street View that if you click it, you might end up in Toledo, Ohio, or Burbank, or the moon, because it literally points up. And depending on which way you click it, it makes you land on the surface of the moon. Very interesting temporal distortion there at COBRAY Firearms of Tennessee, Excalibur, Leinad, Daniel Defense, Ducktown. Woohoo! So, what's there? 3 or 4 are warehouses filled with spare parts. Scrap metal Derringer, pistol replacement and parts kits. What was this all about? Well, these are sans, meaning missing the 11-gauge sheet metal side plates and breech plates. It's a gun company. Used to have an FFL, Federal Firearms Licensing. Non-serialized 80% lower kits that you can get the replacement parts at the flat spot. They're not finished. They're sheets of metal, and honestly, they could just as easily be a sheet of plastic that you copy from as a master. $16 a pop. Why am I doing this video? Because this is filler material, and if I put it up, it used to get imaged over to BitChute, but YouTube is blocking that because they found out a bunch of us are trying to use alternative sources, and they don't want to make it easy for us to leave. Yeah, it's like PhotoBucket all over again. Bastards. So anyway, pistol rifle shotgun, 410, 45, because it's a rifled pistol. They can actually take more than one shell. That's not just the only one. That's sort of like certain things like 357 Magnum is interchangeable almost with another one. In fact, there are entire groups of guns based on being able to take whatever bullet you can get your hands on and put it in. $34. Yeah, it's a little tiny 410 shotgun pistol that's actually a 45 Colt rifled barrel that has a depth in it of 3-point-something inches with the exact bottlenecking and everything. Well, not bottlenecking, but the taper so you can put a shotgun shell in it. But it's missing the side plates. Hint, once you build one set of side plates, they're almost all identical. There's very few differences. I thought there was more, but there's more. You can get a 22 long rifle, LR, manually operated revolver, subcaliber adapter, in a cut breech metal barrel that was a 12-gauge flare gun, but they molded it in metal, and it's literally a 12-gauge pistol that has a 22 caliber adapter stuck in it that you would stick into a standard shotgun, and it just makes it to where you can fire 22 bullets and just you have to open up the breech and rotate it. What they did is they altered this adapter and made it to where you can rotate it on the outside. A variation of this, using a gear to do the rotation with a specific ratio, because the outside surface isn't knurled, that's actually a gear piece, is available. That's $62, because all you had to do was move the barrel back and it's a 12-gauge pistol. illegal as hell. It's also made to only take flare cartridges, and you have to do a bunch of modifications to it. But yeah, it's a thing. $40 for a 12-gauge flare gun, 6-inch overall length, steel frame, international orange plastic, barrel and grip to make it legal, and it included an ATF note that I need a copy of. If anybody has that old note, it was with it, and it said, to whom it may concern, this is legally not a gun. It's a non-gun for whatever reasons, and I need a copy of that. So this is an RFI RFC. That was only $40. I just spent exactly the same amount to get a standard one. It's just black and green. But anyway, one of the orange one, PUBG, and ID code for it, 711-000, or just 2 zeros. Then there's the $40 410 smoothbore 18-inch barrel full stock real shotgun they sold that was based on exactly, again, the same frame. You might have noticed where this is going. Start off with a flare gun. Start off with the largest gauge that's practical for that size. In my case, I'm going to be doing a whole series on making a 1-inch flare gun, exactly 26.5 millimeter inner diameter, matching a 1-inch Schedule 40 pipe. That's literally a Schedule 40 pipe. And you being able to either put subcaliber adapters in it or just pull off the barrel, because I'm going to make an easy removal system that makes this look positively primitive. Should point out that this thing included really cool features, like if you need to reload it, you had to put the safety on so that you didn't actually set it off by accident while loading it. They didn't just start with Professor Parabellum's scrap metal pistols and shotguns. They literally started almost from the ground up, making it as simple as possible and putting in a couple of features. You had to take the thing apart and clean it up a bit. It's sort of like buying a high point. You just have to work the slide enough until it gets better. Then it's a perfectly usable gun. These were always kits. And that's why they sell only the parts they can get away with without having to have a federal firearms license. That's it. The 80% lower rule made it to where they didn't have to. But they recently applied for them again, so they may go back into business under COBRAY. Just a different variation of it. I hope they do, because let's get on with it. Unknown price tags for the following spare parts. 410-45 pistol barrel, double barrel, and then finally full-length barrel 18-inch and the other parts. The company allowed you to buy the parts to build everything they did, and they could give the information away. In fact, that seemed to be the main part. And now the criticism of COBRAY, etc. They chose to focus on selling replacement parts for machine guns that were not considered part of a machine gun, but could be used in any machine gun-like gun, and most accurately, they're semi-automatic rip-offs of real machine guns. No matter how much I love the products, this contrarian stand they took deprived me of getting my flare gun. They also deprived me of being able to steal a really good design. So I've had to actually break out the checkbook, which I don't have, and send away for the flare gun, which I'm going to rip off and make an upgraded version of. Double action with the ability to have it rotate an actual cylinder and steal every one of these ideas and integrate it into a bunch of instructions. There is no FFL requirement for instructions, even under restriction rules. Now let's talk about the 80% lower power 800 Naruto Express Magnum short. It's not the Nitro Express short, and it's not the 700. It's not the 70 caliber. Nor is it the Johnny Dangerously 88 Magnum, which is just a 44 Magnum twice. What is the parent case for this invented cartridge that'll fit into a 12-gauge shotgun barrel, but is street legal because somehow or other I made it a rifled barrel and it's a pistol? 12-gauge shell. But it's not a 12-gauge. Or a 50 BMG, which you can legally make a fucking pistol out of. All you do is say, yeah, it's a 50 BMG, but I didn't close up the end of it, so it's not 50 caliber. It's 825 caliber, or 82.5 caliber. There was an online Gunz'N Shootin' magazine article. It's a April Fool's joke about it. So they came up with their own spec sheet that matches a lot. If you look it up on Wikipedia, they'll have individual bullets and cartridges mentioned. And it's kind of fun because in those cartridges they give you spec sheets. The 50 BMG one listed below is accurate. And the funny thing about it is, the base diameter itself is 20.4 millimeter. And the base diameter for the shotgun shell is a little bit bigger. But it'll chamber because of the neck. It actually head spaces at the shoulder. There's a joke there somewhere. So I came up with a case type, straight rimmed brass, and you could also base it on, if you wanted to, the Oath Tango expanding copper shotgun shell that's totally not an anti-personnel or anti-material rifle bullet thing. You can make a 80 caliber short out of the normal available brass that's 2 3/4 inches long, instead of the 3.5 like God intended a shotgun to be. Or you can go completely berserk and just use a 50 BMG, literally sanded down to make it somewhat shorter, and have a 3.5 inch shell. Because that's the case length minus that butt end that's overbuilt, because it doesn't need to be. Tried to find some other designs that actually had rimmed cartridges on them, rim from replenisher. Couldn't find any. Rimmed cartridges can headspace on the rim, and the case length equals any. That's why you have 22 short, long, and whatever, but 22 Magnum is different because it has to physically fit into a different one, mostly to make sure you don't jam up something or cause a barrel to go bulge or bang. But in this case, watching somebody on a video you can look at below, firing an air gun that's literally 82 caliber, and thinking, yeah, that's basically a 12 gauge shell, that's nice. Basically, it's a 9 gauge bore with a 12 gauge shell stuck in it, and make it rifled from birth, and make it a pistol length and rifle length, and see what the ATF does. And then you can just stick a standard 12 gauge shell in it if you wanted to. Just thought it was kind of funny looking all that up and finding someone else had already made the joke about the 800 Nitro Express already. Anyway, just saying. And I only found a little bit of information about COBRAY, Leinad, etc. because I started looking up the addresses they used, the phone numbers they used, the P.O. boxes they used, and then finally the people who set up the businesses, because they have to openly state that they're running a business. And that's what I could find. 2 of the many iterations of this company, mostly the more famous names, are going to exist. And yes, the company Excalibur that sells you some of the parts or diagrams or whatever is just them. They're just using their overstock. Eventually they'll run out of it. So I'm going to send them a letter and ask them, I need to know what you have available. Do you have a current catalog? Because I want to do something simple. I want to make an improvement to the design. It won't be yours. It won't be anybody else's. And I will start with the large size flare gun that's 26.5 millimeter inner diameter, simply because it's excluded from being an illegal thing to own, and the frame can be used for anything else you want. Because at that point, I can just sell it as a blank frame with a mount where you could put a buttstock or a pistol grip on it, and any barrel and any mechanism you like, including double action, double barrel, and progressive action, which I just vented out of my butt. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with it.